hunting wildebeest with a submachine gun?
Hunting without a license, is that the charge?
Next on Ebert and Roeper, Nicolas Cage in Lord of War, we've got the early review.
Telling me I have a grandchild I don't know about?
Robert Redford, Jennifer Lopez, and Morgan Freeman in An Unfinished Life.
And one of the best movies about America's pastime in our Thumbs Up video segment.
Well, you left the keys in the ignition. Not the smartest thing to do for a policeman.
This would be a good time for you to be quiet. I know that's nearly impossible for you, but if I hear the sound of your voice right now, I can't be responsible for my actions. So this would be a very good time for you to shut up!
Samuel L. Jackson and Eugene Levy are men on a mission, but only one of them can be the man. I'm Richard Roeper.
And I'm Roger Ebert. The Man is a cop buddy movie crossed with a fish out of water formula, with Samuel L. Jackson as a federal agent in Detroit who teams up with Eugene Levy, a dental supply salesman from Wisconsin. Opposites do not attract. It's a case of mistaken identity. First the agent, and then the bad guys think Levy is the middleman in a deal to sell a stockpile of stolen weapons. Jackson briefs the poor guy on the dangerous role he's asking him to play.
Why can't I go? What does any of this have to do with me?
Because every time these guys meet somebody new, they're on the lookout for the man. And you most certainly do not look like the man.
Turns out the salesman got a look at the man the agent is tracking down, but he doesn't make a very good witness.
Good. He had a very nice face, very handsome face. He was a very attractive man.
The salesman makes a very unwilling volunteer. He keeps trying to bail out of the process, and the agent keeps hauling him back aboard because without him, the case can't be cracked. Endangering a civilian doesn't seem to be one of Jackson's concerns.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, hello, I've been shot.
Can you give me a location?
Oh, I don't know, downtown.
Where downtown, sir?
A man in a black car kidnapped me.
Do you have a license plate number?
Yes, just give me a second. 347 DNB. Free.
The Man is a reminder of all sorts of better movies, especially Lethal Weapon 2, with Joe Pesci riding along with the cops on the job. Samuel Jackson and Eugene Levy are right for the roles, but the screenplay is not right for them. It's a paint-by-the-numbers job that depends too much on the salesman's unfortunate tendency to pass gas. A lot of gas. The movie is barely 80 minutes long, but so desperate to fill the time, it even uses that tired old scene where Jackson's wife wants to know if he's going to make it to his daughter's recital that evening. Will he come in at the last moment or not? What do you think, Richard? The Man plays like a fire sale at the spare screenplay store. Thumbs down.
I want to see one of these parody movies someday where all these characters are racing to get to their daughter's dance recital, and they all collide in the middle of the screen. And, of course, you also get the scene where the supervisor says, I'm going to need your badge and your gun, and, of course, then the rogue cop continues to investigate the case.
What a surprise.
Roger, you're so right about this. So tired. It also has echoes, and very distant echoes, of a movie called Midnight Run with De Niro and Grodin. So you have the one tough guy and the nebbish, and they learn from each other. But this is so tired. Maybe if they showed up on the first day of filming and Eugene Levy and Samuel L. Jackson had just said, you want to switch roles? It might have been interesting then, just to see them switch roles and see them play against type.
That is a good idea.
Well, you know, anything...
I'm thinking of that movie, anything would be better than
Levy
that.
as the tough cop and Jackson as the nerd, maybe
now,
next
that
time.
could be funny.
Well, this wasn't. Okay, next is Green Street Hooligans. Now, this is a brutal, insightful look at a side of sports most Americans don't even know about. Now, if you don't know what a football firm is, it's got nothing to do with the Super Bowl and nothing to do with the law. Football firms are the hardcore, nearly gang-like soccer fanatics that live, breathe, drink, punch, kick, and pummel in the name of their favorite club. Now, Elijah Wood is a long way from Frodo territory as Matt, a Harvard journalism student who gets expelled after he takes the fall for his druggy roommate, the son of a powerful politician. Matt makes his way to London and his sister Shannon, who's married to a Brit and has a young son.
I'll give you 100 if you take Matt here to the match.
Bruv, you know I can't take a yank to football.
Yeah, you can. And you're going to be on your best behavior, do you understand?
And that's Charlie Hunnam in an electric performance as Pete, the leader of the firm known as the PSE. Within days, Matt is totally sold on the hooligan mentality, if you can even call it a mentality.
I never felt more confident, and people could spot it from a mile away. And as for this, the violence, I gotta be honest, it grew on me.
Now, Roger, if you think journalism has a bit of a bruised reputation in the States, in the world of Green Street Hooligans, so-called journos are the scum of the earth. Matt's new mates have no idea he's keeping a diary or that he majored in journalism.
What about Millwall?
Millwall. Where to even begin with Millwall? Millwall and West Ham firms hate each other more than any other firms by far.
Sort of like the Yankees and the Red Sox.
More like the Israelis and the Palestinians.
Green Street Hooligans is co-written and directed by Lexi Alexander. She's a former world champion in karate and kickboxing, so yeah, she knows fighting. At times, Alexander is overly romantic in her depiction of these fights. We get slow-motion shots and plaintive ballads as if these guys are noble gladiators instead of emotionally stunted little boys who have just never grown up. But Alexander also makes it clear that there are dire consequences to all this nonsense. It's a good film. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up for me, too, and it really shows how a complete milquetoast from America, a Harvard boy who has never really landed a blow in his life, becomes, in a very short matter of time, a hooligan, a guy who buys into the code of the mob and goes out into the streets and fights. And it's interesting, these people, for the most part, don't use guns.
No.
Because they're really into pain, and they're into hitting each other and being hit, and then on Monday, they go back to work, and some of them have white-collar jobs.
The leader of the gang is a school teacher.
I know. There was a movie in 1989 by Alan Clark on the BBC, one of Gary Oldman's first films, called The Firm, which shows this same world, which still exists, and it's hard to believe that these people go out there every weekend looking to get pounded on.
And I think one of the things this film gets right is that there's very little soccer or football, as they call it in the UK, because these guys, they're all loyal to their team, but they don't really seem to care that much about who wins the game. It's all about the fight before or after the match.
At one point, the younger brother says, well, we don't have much of a team. West Ham isn't much of a team, but we have a great firm.
We have a great firm, exactly.
Okay, coming up, Laura Linney and Campbell Scott in The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Read Richard Roeper at Suntimes.com and Roger Ebert at RogerEbert.com and download their podcast at iTunes.
Our next movie is An Unfinished Life, starring Robert Redford in a wise and assured performance as a man who must come to terms with his son's death. It also stars Jennifer Lopez as his daughter-in-law, and she needs his help. Morgan Freeman co-stars as Redford's lifelong friend who has a rematch of sorts with a grizzly bear that mauled him a year earlier.
Just keep going.
An Unfinished Life got 2 thumbs up on last week's show. It opens this week.
You know, last week when we reviewed it, we used the phrase old-fashioned as a form of praise. Because this is a well-constructed, traditional film with strong characters, an interesting story, good development, great scenery, and on and on. It's like a film was made in the way that they used to be made.
Exactly, and as you pointed out last week, Roger, this is a movie that sat on the shelf for a couple of years because of Miramax's various problems, but it's not because, I don't think at all, because there was a problem with the film. It was just a matter of finding the right time to release it.
It's a good film.
Yes.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose begins with the arrest of a priest suspected of murder. The prosecution claims that by attempting an exorcism on a disturbed college student, the priest was responsible for her death. Flashbacks show the girl, played by Jennifer Carpenter, undergoing an agonizing ordeal, and the priest, played by Tom Wilkinson, using the ancient rite of exorcism.
Ego sum creentur habitat. Et ego sum qui venit in nomine Eus. Num patas me expellere sacerdos.
Laura Linney is the defense attorney. Her firm has been employed by the Archdiocese, which wants as little publicity as possible, so that her boss at the firm orders her to accept a plea bargain and close this case as quickly as she can. But Father Moore doesn't want to make a deal.
I'm not afraid of jail. What I care about is telling Emily Rose's story. I want people to hear what only I can tell.
And what is that?
What really happened to Emily and why.
It really all comes down to a matter of belief. If you believe in demons, Father Moore was justified. And if you don't, he may have contributed to the girl's death. But how can matters of faith be entered as evidence in a courtroom?
I fell asleep, but when I woke up, she wasn't beside me.
This movie is said to be based on a true story, although there's often a lot of space between based on and true story.
Inspired by.
Yeah, it adds to the intrigue that the Laura Linney character is an agnostic and Campbell Scott's prosecutor is a churchgoer. So both of them, in a way, are arguing against their own theological opinions. Tom Wilkinson makes the priest a simpler and more open character, a man who thought he was doing the right thing and still believes that Emily Rose was possessed by a demon. Unlike most movies involving exorcism, this one is not about suspense and terror and special effects, although there's some of that. It's about people and what they believe and about what happens when religion and secular culture meet in a head-on legal smash-up. Thumbs up.
Well, Roger, thumbs up for me as well. I think this movie works as a thriller, a supernatural thriller. Some really good scares there. There was one moment in a classroom that really just got to me. Very scary stuff. And as a courtroom drama, very effective. So you have two different movies, and whether you believe any of this stuff, I mean, you personally as a viewer, you could at least believe where these characters are going. And you made a good point, I hadn't thought about that, that the two attorneys are really kind of arguing against what they believe in their heart, but that's the case they have, and they both do a wonderful job.
It's interesting the Archdiocese takes the position it does because the church does believe in demons, does have the right of exorcism, but doesn't really like to publicize it very much.
Right.
And kind of plays it down because it's been sensationalized in these movies and best-selling books. And so when the case comes up, they would just like to get it under the carpet and forget about it. And they're willing to sacrifice their priest.
It's interesting, though. We've talked on this show about how so many movies have kind of an anti-Catholic, anti-priest feel. And this movie doesn't have that. I mean, Tom Wilkinson's character is very well played, and he's a complete human being. So I think it's fair in its treatment of how the church handles this, and it's just a well-rounded, well-crafted movie.
He's really the only person on either side, anywhere in the case, who wants to have Emily Rose and her story come out. He's concerned about the victim. Coming up later in the show, Nicolas Cage stars in Lord of War, and next, baseball and country music in our Thumbs Up video segment.
Ebert and Roeper's Thumbs Up video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
See what's happening here? Do you want to die here? Huh? Is that what you want?
Of the new movies on DVD that are already in stores, Crash is by far the best.
And that is a movie the public found, because when it opened last spring, it had only modest expectations from the studio, and the word of mouth was so strong, it just kept building week after week and theater after theater, all summer long as people told each other about it.
And not just the word of mouth, the word from the balcony right here. I'll take a little bit of credit, so can you. Okay, now we got some good movies that are coming up this week on video. Now, we are in the pennant stretch, and Roger, my beloved White Sox are hanging on and looking good, but it's the Red Sox who are celebrated in my video pick, Fever Pitch. This is a movie that did not do great business in theaters, but it's one of the best movies I've ever seen about what it means to be a hardcore sports fan who's not a Green Street hooligan. Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore have a wonderful rapport, with Fallon as the nutball fan and Barrymore as the woman of his dreams who's trying to understand his obsession.
For when we go to the games together.
Thanks.
It's what the players wear. It's authentic. I gotta be honest. This is getting me hot.
The DVD extras include one of the best gag reels I've ever seen.
Oh, you know, Ben, darling. This Red Sox thing, bit of a problem.
Fever Pitch is funny and sweet, and when the Red Sox screwed up the original storyline by actually winning the World Series, the Farrelly brothers improvised and came up with a perfect ending.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah,
My video pick this week is the 25th anniversary edition of Coal Miner's Daughter, with Sissy Spacek's Academy Award-winning performance as country singer Loretta Lynn. Loretta's life itself sounded like a country song. She was married when she was only 13, but luckily to a good man, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who hears her singing, thinks she has talent, and buys her a cheap guitar.
What'd you get me a guitar for?
Because I like the way you sing.
You really think I sing good?
Baby, I know you do.
Spacek and Jones are wonderful in the movie, which is directed by Michael Apted, and so is Beverly D'Angelo as her best friend, Patsy Cline.
I like your pick a lot, especially, we have all these biopics in the works of various country singers and pop singers. We had Ray last year. We have Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash story coming up later this year, but nobody is going to be able to top, I think, Sissy Spacek's work in Coal Miner's Daughter. Really good.
Except maybe Jessica Lange as Patsy Cline.
That was another good one.
Another good picture.
That was another good picture. Okay, Fever Pitch and Coal Miner's Daughter, the 25th anniversary edition, will both be available in stores on Tuesday.
Come here. Come here. Don't be shy. Here, look. Free sample. Help yourself, okay? Free sample. Tell your friends. Happy time. Come on. Help yourselves. No charge. Everything goes. Good.
Nicolas Cage brings a unique brand of offbeat intensity to every performance. Even when his movies fail, he's never uninteresting. And in Lord of War, he delivers a great performance in a very strong film. This is an early review. The movie opens next week. Now, we've seen hundreds of gun-crazy action movies, but few films that actually tell us about the business of buying and selling weapons. Lord of War is the Goodfellas of gun-running movies, like Ray Liotta in Goodfellas. Cage is the narrator and the main character of Lord of War, and he never apologizes for his life of crime, though he does try to rationalize it at every turn.
Really, she doesn't know how you paid for all this.
We don't talk about it. How many car salesmen talk about their work, huh? How many cigarette salesmen? Both their products kill more people every year than mine. At least mine has a safety switch.
Roger, this is another one of those based-on-fact stories. Cage plays Yuri Orlov, a globe-trotting arms dealer who never met a customer he wouldn't do business with.
I sold Israeli-made Uzis to Muslims.
The best things in life are free. But you
I sold communist-made bullets to fascists.
And Eamon Walker is just great as the cheerfully evil Andre Baptiste Sr., who's nothing but a psycho killer in a dress uniform. Yuri doesn't care, though. He doesn't care who's fighting or what they're fighting about, as long as they're fighting with his guns.
Why'd you do that?
What did you see?
Now you're gonna have to buy it. It's a used gun. How can I sell a used gun?
A used gun. A used gun. That's a good one.
Lord of War was written and directed with great style by Andrew Niccol, whose previous work includes the vastly underrated Gattaca. In addition to Cage's fine work, there are terrific supporting performances by Ethan Hawke as the federal agent determined to bring down Yuri, Jared Leto as Yuri's cokehead younger brother, and Bridget Monahan as his trophy wife, who doesn't ask too many questions about where all the money comes from. The opening sequence is amazing in this movie. It's a bullet cam tour de force as we follow the journey of a single round of ammunition from its creation to its ultimate horrific destination. From that point on, it just gets better. This is the best international thriller since The Bourne Supremacy. Big thumbs up for me.
And it reminded me, too, of The Insider, because it talks about exactly how business and intrigue and crime all go together. And this character played by Cage, who likes to dress in black, he's got his neat tie and his shine shoes, even when he's on a landing strip in the middle of a mud flat somewhere in Africa, thinks that because he does business with these people and they need him, he's immune.
Right.
And he can't be hurt by these weapons that are murdering so many other people. But as he tries to keep his moral detachment, it becomes more and more chilling, and yet you realize that's exactly what's going on in all of these wars, in Africa and Bosnia and areas like that. Money is being made.
Yeah, it's amazing. And actually, you know, his younger brother, who seems like the screw-up and the irresponsible guy, and he's got this drug addiction, but part of it is because the younger brother just can't do it anymore. He can't just say, let's make money, and not pay attention to the fact that literally right next to them, the war is being fought while they're making these deals, and he just can't handle that anymore.
Cage is so good at intensity, at being intense, at being focused, at being kind of crazy effective.
Yeah, there's something about him.
He really sells this character. I can see the movie not working with a more bland actor.
And you know, it covers something like 20 years in this guy's life, and Cage doesn't bother trying to look younger or different. He just he just sells the performance at every turn.
We'll be back to recap this week's show right after this.
Who's this? I pull the strings and he dances.
All right. Okay, recapping the movies on this week's show, it's The Agreement Show. 2 thumbs down for The Man, 2 thumbs up for Green Street Hooligans, 2 thumbs up for An Unfinished Life, 2 thumbs up for The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and 2 big thumbs up for the best movie on the show this week, Lord of War. It opens next week.
And that's really a good one. We'll be back with our picks for the movies to see in theaters this weekend.
Visit our website at ebertandroeper.tv or at movies.com.
We were talking about Lord of War, and a movie that's kind of related to it is The Constant Gardener, which is in theaters right now. That's the one I would recommend. Both of these movies show how foreign money goes into Africa, is largely sidetracked by local corruption, and then is taken back out again by Western entrepreneurs. It's a very crooked and discouraging process.
Yeah, and this is a great film, and you and I were both a little concerned with that Wednesday, August 31st release date that The Constant Gardener would get lost in the shuffle, but so far, Very encouraging because it's doing great numbers in the cities where it's playing. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of Reese Witherspoon and Mark Ruffalo and Just Like Heaven. Until then, the balcony is closed.
When you refinance at LendingTree.com, you can save up to $200 a month with a lower rate. Just think what you can do with the money. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com.
Why did your last diet fail?
Stress raises cortisol. Cortisol increases belly fat. Relicor helps reduce cortisol. You need Relicor.
Call now. It's guaranteed.
The Subaru 24-hour test drive. It's not your standard test drive. Then again, this isn't your standard SUV. The Subaru B9 Tribeca.
Don't search all over the internet to find the best deal. Just let your mouse lead you to Motel6.com, and you'll save time and money. Piece of cake, or piece of cheese.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by
60 million people. Over 200,000 schools. It's easy to reconnect with old friends at classmates.com.